So this is Saladin Salam for King Corso, Cunner Depressor, and Neapolitan Mastiff Historical Talk. How y'all doing? Hopefully y'all having a blessed night. Well, you know, they already know the topic, so let's get into it. Seems like a lot of you have issues, man. Real deep, embedded issues. Alright, so let me break down some history about the Corso. One. Corso didn't comply. Alright, the main components of the Corso is this. Neapolitan Mastino, or Cunner Depressor, or Cunner de Corso, whatever the hell. Like I said, the Italians play word semantics with that, right? Your sheepdog component is another element. Now, you have alien breeds that came into or was introduced into the breeding programs as well. Now, when the Italians were fighting the dogs, the pit bull component came in. Great Dane, Boxer, and whatever else they decided to use. So, within saying that, is that, and again, small amount, it's not dramatically where the dogs took it, like I said, you see what it is, they took the aspect of the being the boxer. Alright, now, a lot of enthusiasts say that, the standard requires the dog to have a reverse scissor, and the reverse scissor is functional just as the scissor bite. This is true. The reverse scissor tightly has the same effect as a scissor bite. This is to be the truth. But, however, the dogs, right, the Cunner Depressor, the Neapolitan Mastino, and the Corso were one of the same. I repeat, one of the same. In the 50s, the dogs went into a different direction. So now the Corso, right, the history aspect of what the Corso is, the enthusiasts lied. How did they lie? Well, first and foremost, they changed the bite. So then they started breeding boxes into the dogs, so the dogs will start having a reverse scissor, so it won't be no more connection to the Neapolitan Mastiff. That was wrong. That was so detrimental to the breed. It's crazy right now. See, you had a bunch of people that didn't know how to breed dogs that all of a sudden wanted to get rich. Wanted to make a lot of money, so they did what they did. Now, what we have today is a lot of dog enthusiasts. Again, a lot of people aren't dog people. You know what I'm saying? You just got the dog just on the whim because you felt that it was a nice looking dog. Nobody does the history properly. Nobody does no research. You know, even with professional people like veterinarians. Again, a lot of veterinarians are wrong. A lot of veterinarians, they have an assumption they can prescribe diseases and prevent diseases on the aspect of dog breeding, selecting traits and stuff like that. That's a different ball game. Then on that aspect becomes an individual that becomes a specialist. Now, you can be a specialist on the aspect of you do a lot of research, or you did a lot of breedings, a lot of experimentations. So then you get to know what genes is which. Or you dealt with more than one breed. A lot of you haven't dealt with just more than one breed, especially Mastiff type breeds. Mastiffs have a common ancestor altogether. And again, you know, you heard it, the Allant, the the Bullington, and etc. Okay, let's talk about the Aberese Mastiff, because that's one of the components of the Corso, right? The Aberese Mastiffs on the Memorandum, whatever the hell. There's one in Sicily, there's one in the mainland here. These dogs come in a variety of colors, right? Right. Okay. Now, these sheepdogs also have a Mastiff component in them. They do. They have an ancient Mastiff component in them. So, now, let's talk about their cousins. And their cousins vary, such as the Chichaka, the Spanish Mastiff, and I can go on talking about sheep herding dogs. Now, with these sheep herding dogs, right? A lot of these dogs come pointed, and they come in a variety of colors. So, therefore, the Italian sheepdogs have this in their DNA. Okay, let's talk about the Neapolitan Mastiff. The Neapolitan Mastiff is a Mastiff. It did not look, like I said, the Italians got it messed up. Oh, there was two types. There was a heavier set type, and there was a light type. There was a lightweight type. No, there was sight hounds, and then there was the Neapolitan Mastiff. I'm gonna say that again. There were sight hounds, and then it was the Neapolitan Mastiff. There were sight hounds, and then there was the Neapolitan Mastiff. The Neapolitan Mastiff was not as bulky as today's Neos are. They were much more to a corso looking, kind of depressor, etc. They looked like that. Big ones, small ones. Phenotype was one of the same. These dogs were used in war. These dogs were used on the farm. These dogs were used as catch dogs, as well as other breeds sold. But I'm about to get into that. But nevertheless, these dogs came in a variety of color. But color, which I'm seeing, was desired back in the day in Italy. Well, I guess because the dog wouldn't be hurt or harmed, was dark colored dogs. And there was a lot of brindling dogs. So it is what it is. It's a brindling breed. Same thing with the canary dog, the kind of depressor. Not that kind of depressor, sorry. The canario oppressor. Anyway. Now, like I said, even with the Allant, etc., these dogs came in a variety of color. So therefore, on the farm, Italian people, right? The majority of them were poor people, humble people, farmers, and etc. And they was just trying to make a living. Just like here in down south, in the south area, where they kept the American Bulldog. Same scenario. Whatever region you lived in, this is how the dog was bred. So in this particular area, maybe the corsos came in this color. And in this particular area, the corsos came in another color. Same thing like down south. The dogs came in a variety of different colors and spectrums. You know what I'm saying? So, let me go on. Color actually really, to a certain extent, wasn't an issue. People had these dogs, and they call them Molossalas. They wasn't even called Mastino. They wasn't called Canidepressors. They wasn't called Canidecorsos. They wasn't called Neapolitan Mastiff. They was called Molossalas. And these Molossalas were the traditional dog of the land. Some of these dogs were bred with the sheepdog component. So now you have a variety of color phases that these dogs could come in. Not a big issue. Now, when they started getting noticed, different breeders at different times decided to go in different directions. Now you have some enthusiasts that found the dogs was like, oh, well, these were the ancient Roman dogs. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm really not satisfied with this look, so I'm gonna add these components: Bloodhound, French Mastiff, English Mastiff, and maybe some Saint Bernard. I don't know. Came into play in the reconstruction of the Neapolitan Mastino, which was called the Canidepressor, which was called a corso. So the dogs changed. It didn't come overnight. It took a few years, like a few decades, to actually pinpoint a type of look. Because even in the 70s, 60s, 80s, Neapolitan Mastiff still had three distinct looks. You got the corso looking ones, you got the heavier built ones, and you got the in-between ones. It was what it was. Okay, now with the corso situation. Corso situation was, you had an enthusiast, right? Pablo Berger, which his profession was something else. It wasn't in the dogs. Not saying that his grandfather or his father had one of these dogs in the past, so he's used to seeing the dog, not really knowing what it was, but trying to look for it. So he found a few specimens. The specimens to me looked at poorly. Again, if he would have went to the neo breeders, which I indicated, he would have got a kind of depressing. Or my thing is, even on the countryside, if you look better, I just don't believe the story, point blank. But anyway, the specimens that he found were poor quality dogs. The majority of them. There's one or two that look kind of cool. I have to admit that. But as they lineage, I don't believe of the story that he's manifesting, because the dogs look totally different and look and type and etc. And again, my thing is like, the Italian enthusiasts did a lot of breedings, other breedings with like more Mastino or Mastiff type dogs. The poor corsos looked at like kind of like sheepdogs, like a mezzo corso. And the mezzo corso could come in any color, even Powerball, white, etc. This is where the white color code, cream color code is coming from. And cream is a form of a dark phase of white, like on some real stuff. It's not straw. Let's not play the game, because you get milk. Milk is white. Milk develops cream. Cream also could be made into butter. Then it starts darkening, right? Right. So just give you the concept of that. You know what I'm saying? Cream is still like an off-white. And my thing is, some corsos come in this color. It shouldn't have been considered as a fault, because it's traditionally sound. Traditionally sound. It is proper. It is what the corso is supposed to be. Okay, take it back a little bit. The white blaze on the face. The white blaze on the face has been in the dog since Genesis. Since Genesis. Even the Powerball variety. It still comes up in Neos. It still comes up in corsos. You can't get away with that. Pointed dogs. Pointed dogs came from the sheepdog component. Like I said, they were breeding back and forth. It wasn't about type, look. It was about working ability. The dog worked. The dog was on the farm, despite the color code. It is what it is. But we can look at the corso's cousins and see that they come in the same type of colors or uniform colors. So therefore, like I said, there's a lot of validity of what I'm saying to you. So then again, the standard wasn't reflecting upon the history aspect of it. A lot of American enthusiasts sold out, point blank. At first, if you could look at Old Dog USA's, you'll see in the beginning that a lot of enthusiasts wasn't pleased with the dogs in their league. The reason being because, again, that's when the Italian breeders was trying to make the reverse scissor. So they was breeding a lot of boxes into the dogs. Also, too, a lot of black boxes to cover up the points, trying to get rid of that stuff. Because a lot of these dogs will come in pointed, just like the Pescerios up in Sicily. Like, it is what it is. So again, you wasn't manifested or told the history properly. But anyway, to make a long story short, hold on.